Hi, welcome to Your Stars Within. I'm Little Wave, and today I want to talk about the bones of the chart. What are the bones of the chart? Well, it's the four dark lines when you look at your chart like this. So in this chart, I want you to see that across the horizontal line, the ascendant and descendant is at 16 degrees Sagittarius is the ascendant. So directly across from it, if you follow that dark line to the descendant, 16 degrees Gemini. If you look at the vertical dark line, that's the IC at the bottom and the MC at the top. And you'll see that that's at 6 degrees Aries at the bottom. And then, of course, the exact opposite, 6 degrees Libra at the top. This is what I call the bones of the chart. The reason I call it the bones is because it literally holds the chart together. This is the cross of the chart. In my experience, when planets and significant events occur on the bones of the chart, things happen in the person's life. So you can expect to see real manifested change when things happen at the bones. I found it to be more significant than transit, like planetary interactions. Okay, so I found this to be one of the most significant ways to look at what's going on in a person's chart. So I'm hoping this will help you do the same. So in this chart, Sagittarius is the rising sign. But theoretically, the first sign is Aries. So the first house, if you're watching the house series, right, is ruled by Aries. So theoretically, the first and seventh house, the ascendant, descendant, is naturally ruled by Aries and Libra. I, as Aries, right, I, and Libra, we or thou, okay? So in this chart, they have Sagittarius on the ascendant, but we still know that the first house is about I, and the seventh house is about we. So the ascendant-descendant line, okay, is about who am I and who am I in relation to others. It's better to think of this as a spectrum, okay? Not as discrete, first house is I and seventh house is we. It's a spectrum of understanding the relationship. Some people can tend to be too much I. We all know those people. They watch out for themselves. They think about themselves. Other people are too much of we. They compromise themselves. They give up too much for the group or for a partner or for friends. They're always thinking about others and putting themselves last. Oh no, not me, not my dreams and hopes, everybody else, right? So we can be at extremes, but that spectrum is teaching us about the balance point, about the healthy relationship of I and thou. To look at another and to see their humanity, the thou in them, right? That's the namaste, right? So when I see the thou in you, the soul in you, I treat you with the respect that the seventh house or the descendant line asks for if I was in balance. But that doesn't mean that I say, oh, thou is all that matters, right? There's still a healthy space for I. You matter. You're important. So am I, equally so. And my job is also to pay attention to me and what I need with deep respect for you and what you need, right? So that's the I-thou relationship. So when things occur on the ascendant line, a lot of times who a person is changes, the I. So depending on what that aspect is, right? If that's Saturn coming through, that person might step into their adulthood, their responsibility. They might feel a little weighed down by life, just depending on the way that interacts with their particular chart. But it's going to be about them and how they present to the world. Traditionally, the ascendant is thought of as how a person presents themselves to the world, and a lot of times people will look like their ascendant. I personally find that to be somewhat true. I do think that people also look a lot like their midheaven, their MC, which we'll talk about in a minute. My experience of the ascendant, and it may have to do with which is the stronger sign, the sun or the ascendant, but my experience of the ascendant is that the ascendant is what is coming through. The sun is kind of the way we say it, right? If I'm a sun sign Leo, I might say it very gregariously. If I'm a sun sign Pisces, I might say it very gently, right? If I'm a sun sign Aquarius, I might say it very matter-of-factly. But what it is, the content of what I'm saying, what I'm interested in, I find to be the ascendant. The descendant is partnership, the other. So this is traditionally marital partners and business partners. I think it has to do with our relationships, though. How we relate to others and how we interact with the assertive and passive line, how much I assert self or am passive, how much I think about others and what their needs are versus self, things like that. So it's really this spectrum. However, when things affect the descendant, you might expect to see things happen in their relationship. But remember, these are always in opposites, right? So if something affects the ascendant, it's oppositing the descendant. If some planet comes along and affects the descendant, it's oppositing the ascendant. So really just depending on the planet, the person, and the other pieces going on, it can really affect the person or the partnership. And often when one thing is affected, so is the other, right? If my partner has a really severe issue, it's going to affect me. If I make a major change to myself in my life, it's going to affect my partner. So in this way, it's always one and the same. That's why it's the spectrum. Okay, so the midheaven and the MC, sorry, we're going to call it the MC and the IC line, okay, the vertical line. Traditional rulers. Traditional ruler of the MC is Capricorn. Traditional ruler of the IC is Cancer. Okay, so career world, reputation out there in society, right? Capricorn is king of business. And then Cancer, home, mother, nurture, moon, okay? So these four, right, the traditional rulers, the Aries, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, are your cardinal signs. Cardinal signs are signs of action. And I think that's why we see so much happen when things affect the bones of the chart. Okay, let's talk about MCIC. So in this case, the MC is 6 degrees Libra, and the IC is 6 degrees Aries. Okay, they're always going to be in exact opposites because they're a spectrum. So what I want us to think about on this spectrum is the inner life and the outer life. Look at how it is in the circle. See how the MC is down at the bottom? That's inside of me, right? That's deep. That's my roots, my ancestry, my childhood, my mother, my soul, right? My inner life. It's the things that affect me really deeply and emotionally. And then when we look at the MC up here, right? This is the top of the chart. This is what's most visible, right? This is what's shining in the sky. And so when we think about the MC, we want to think about career, reputation, how we're received by others, how people see us. I find this is often how others see us, especially in work or professional environments, people who don't know us super well at a personal level. It has to do with how you show up in the world. So if somebody has maybe Venus up there, they're going to be very beautiful in the world. People are going to like them, find them attractive, find them easy. If you have Saturn up there, that might come across as kind of dour or like a stick in the mud, right? The alternative to that, though, would to be like an authority or like a father, right? To be like the go-to person that people can trust. If you got Mars up there, you're probably very motivated. You're probably a go-getter. You might even be a salesman, something like that. You could be really good at sports. You might be into cars, all these kind of things related to Mars. But you probably are perceived as rather aggressive, like, oh yeah, he or she really goes for what they want, right? So what's up there versus what's in here? People can't always see that I see. That I see down at the bottom of the chart is your private personal world. It's kind of how you see self from the inside, whereas the MC is how others see you. So when there's going to be, say, a transit, and that transit is going to come in conjunct either the IC or the MC. Now remember, it affects both, right? Why does it affect both? Well, because if something comes and alters my home life, that probably alters or creates conflicts at work. If something comes in, if I get a new job in another country, that's going to probably change my home pretty significantly, right? So that opposition, this spectrum effect. All right? So when things conjunct or oppose the MC-IC line, what I want you to think about is changes to the person's home, changes to the person's career life or reputation. So often you see new jobs, maybe Jupiter is crossing the person's midheaven, or the MC, then they are having probably a lot of good luck at work, maybe a lot of job options or opportunities, right? Maybe Uranus is crossing the IC. Maybe they're going to unexpectedly change homes. Maybe their childhood home is being sold. Things like that are the types of things that you might see with transits. So looking for, in the natal chart, are there planets on these bones? Because those are going to be really significant planets. If somebody has a planet on the ascendant, okay, that's going to be an energy that you really see in them. Even if they don't have that sign anywhere else or it's not a common element, you're going to see that planet. I often feel that planets on the ascendant are planetary energies that you have achieved a good understanding or mastery of in a past life. And so you pull that energy into this one with no problem. Things on the descendant, if somebody's born with their natal chart, something's on the descendant line, they're going to look for that in a partner. Probably their partner will be very much like that. They kind of project that energy outward. So let's say somebody has Mars over there. They're going to probably find a partner who's pretty aggressive, pretty verbal, pretty loud. So they're going to be at the restaurant, and oh, they don't want to be aggressive because they project that energy out. Oh, my food's not any good. No. It's okay. It's cold, but don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. And, the partner's going to be like, excuse me, my partner's food is cold. Get this fixed now. Very loud and kind of pushy about it because they project that energy out to others. On the MC and IC line, what you're going to see in the natal chart is if somebody has a planet down on the IC, I want you to think about their childhood, right? So you're going to think about like, oh, this is what your home really felt like, or your mother or the more passive parent. Traditionally, it's the mother, but I think that you have to think of it as the more passive parent. And so this is what the home and childhood was about and felt like, that planetary energy is going to really be what their childhood was like. And if they have a planet on the MC, that's really what they're going to project in the world and be a really big part of their career life. Okay, that's an energy that might help us determine what might be some good career paths for them. So I hope that makes sense and that's helpful. I found that to be an extremely powerful way to look at the chart is by looking at the bones. And I hope that that's, somewhat simple where you can kind of just look at that and start to think about what the different interpretations might be. So if you're looking at your natal chart and you see a transit coming in or you see a natal placement and you want to talk about what does that mean, go ahead and leave me a comment and I'm happy to share some thoughts around that. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this video.